Welcome to Building Better Worlds. Our mission here is simple: to explore how the innovations of Web3 can deliver on its potential to build a sustainable, more equitable world. Welcome to Building Better Worlds. I'm your host, Mutz, and today we have a special guest, all the way from Botswana, Africa. Oh my gosh, but he is one of the pioneers of NFTs in Africa and the Web3 space. So welcome, Park Sivanda. How are you doing?
Thank you very much. How are you doing, Musa?
So you're from Zimbabwe, but you're living in Botswana,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
How did you get into this NFT Web3 space? What was the interest in that?
Well, I think it came from my background in IT. I've been always interested in graphic design, using the PC, to do music and anything really computer related. And what happened was my wife was based in Botswana, and the economic situation in them was not allowing me to do some of the things I love to do, which is like trade stocks and stuff like that. And Botswana is more accommodative of financial transactions. So I gradually came here to set up a fresh company, which became Dow Tech, my IT company. So in that, I became more interested in trading crypto and other commodities which were upcoming. So when the lockdown came down, I guess everybody had time to think. And that's when I really got more into the NFTs around 2020. Yeah. So I first dived in on Clubhouse. That was the onboarding thing.
Okay.
From there, I kind of, listened very attentively. Like I've got papers from back then, like scribbles, trying to catch up, what's MetaMask, what's Web3,
Right.
DeFi, all that kind of stuff. Until I got more into it and started to say, hey, wait a minute, call my friends and ask them, hey, do you know about this? Do you know about that? And to my surprise, nobody knew about anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there a key moment that made you decide that this is the path I want to take?
I think I've been looking for a solution as an IT person. I've been looking for a solution on trying to get digital art recognized, arts and culture, African platforms really for digital art. I think that's where I came from, my passion of arts and culture in Africa, and trying to bring communities who are doing this in the grassroots level up to the world stage. I think until the NFT market, there was not a real way to go through middlemen and all sorts of things. So I saw blockchain and this new technology as something that would help Africa. Well, I think just everybody really, but in particular Africans try to make a living and also
Right.
help with IP and stuff like that.
Oh, nice. So why NFTs? There's Web3, there's crypto, and then there's NFTs. It's a different avenue in everywhere. Why NFTs?
Well, NFTs for me, I think, brought home, I think, a lot of the things I was trying to do. When I got to learn more about them, first was just art, right? And how to sell your JPEG or your pictures or something on a blockchain and, get direct remuneration for it. And then later on, once I got to think about my problems that I have that I'm trying to solve, employment, problems with also getting things on a Web3 space. Those were kind of things that drew me closer to NFTs. When I found out you could do crowdfunding for startups and also use it as a kind of governance system for running a community. So that's when I really got more hooked into it after that.
Yeah. All right. So you co-founded NFTs Africa.
Yeah.
So what is that and how does it work and what's the purpose?
Okay. Dowtech was a data IT company. Basically, we were trying to gear up Africa for the fourth industrial revolution. And when I first started it, I wanted to deal with data. And then I quickly realized there was not much data available in Africa, like African shops, grassroots shops. They're not online. And this was during COVID. So we were trying to get products from Africa, basically, trade those about. And the problem was most of those things were not available. They didn't have websites and stuff like that. So I took to try and push this and NFT market, and I realized what it could. Founded NFT Africa as under Dowtech, but as a more corporate social responsibility kind of arm. That was kind of what we were trying to do until I more fit into the social entrepreneurship field. I think more fitting for it, where I need to give back to impact projects to really make a difference in people's lives. Yeah, I'm not sure if I kind of answered that one.
All right. So, me speaking to you, I'm originally from Uganda, right? Which is a few neighbors up north from you, right? And so, based off of the work that I've seen that you're doing, it's based off of the culture of Ubuntu, but most people don't know what that is. So, can you explain what Ubuntu is and how that works into what you're doing?
Okay, I guess I'll just go back to the mission of NFT Africa, which was really to onboard Africa into the space and kind of bridge the digital gap between grassroots level and mainstream kind of like the West, England and American culture. So Ubuntu in Africa is more about coming together from a family level all the way out to a community level, working together for a common goal, common purpose. And that kind of is the same thing that resonated with me with the NFTs. Most early projects were kind of a group of people coming together for a common purpose. And in Africa, I think most of the things we are really challenged with are the basic needs, which is probably shelter, which is probably having a job or a sustainable income, water, and then it came closer to things like data and a device to get onto the NFT space. So we kind of working in reverse, where when I realized my friends and my fellow people couldn't get into the NFT space, that's really why I then founded NFT Africa, to try and get people onboarded into Web3 space to be able to take part in this revolution.
Okay, that's noble enough. Yeah. So do you have any projects that you've been working on that have been successful enough to have traction? And can you tell us about those projects?
And not to a big degree. What we did was a pilot project, and this was early on when I got into the NFT space, and in my early dealings with being on Clubhouse and Twitter and stuff like that, I met some very interesting people who were doing impact projects and were kind of like-minded. And we then decided to try and onboard some Africans in the space. And I think it was very early on. There was not that many people based in Africa really on the space. So the biggest challenge was most people didn't have access to data. They didn't have access to information about NFTs, and they didn't have power to power any their devices. Sometimes there's power cuts. Africa is very erratic on the power. So we then decided to put some NFTs for auction, charity auction with an NGO based in America called Leyline.gg, and we auctioned out artworks for this purpose, and were able to onboard at least 2 people in Africa with that what we call the what do you call it, a Leyline starter kit, an onboarding kit, which was a solar charger, a phone, or some device, and an LTE router for some people, and data for some people, depending on how or their circumstances. So that was the first pilot project, which was eye-opening. And after that, we then tried to grow the whole project to try and expand it. I mean, it was a bit of a miss. It was a trial and error. And, we were trying to target NGOs to try and help them realize that they could use NFTs to raise money for their causes and stuff. So that's really where we're working on, and most of the projects are coming from that.
All right. So I'm going off topic right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you'll give me just a second,
yeah.
Right? Because I'm African, you're African. And so I'm going off formal. We've been doing formal interview right now. Let's just talk. The question is, what do you see NFTs for Africa? What can we see that we can do? Because I have the same passion for Africa. I've been here for 20 years in the United States, right? But I understand that NFTs, Web3 is the power that we have that we never had, right? And so how can we use it? And this answer doesn't have to be professional.
Mm-hmm.
Let's discuss it. How can NFTs, Web3, crypto, how can we give power to the people that actually need it?
Well, for me, I'm thinking mostly we have been having a problem of corruption. We've been having a problem of governance. We've been having a problem of trade within Africa. So these are the key areas I believe we can use NFTs, including, and then that's why I guess I would put education as a solution, education, financial literacy, on what is crypto and what do NFTs really do for Africa. I mean, people have a notion of if it's not broken, why fix it? So the issue is the original system which we've inherited is broken and is skewed towards, um, I think, not towards Africa. I mean, it's not benefiting Africa. And if we as African and the continent can adopt and leapfrog with this technology, I think we've done it before with mobile technology. And so I was hoping we could leapfrog into this Web3 space where we take control of the narrative in this case. Unlike what normally happens is we just bridge, I mean, when new technology comes, Africa just goes even wider, like even further from being able to adopt this. So I don't think people have the information and understand what these technologies can do for us. And I think us who are, I guess, enlightened or early adopters have the responsibility to try and translate this to those who are willing, corporate, governments. I think it's all around, you know. So if people then grasp this technology and understand how it can help governments and how it can help public sector and education, and then I think we will be more in a case of, you know, solving African problems ourselves without external what we call dead aid, you know, asking for money and just, you know, yeah. So the real issue is it's African solutions by Africans.
Okay. So what is the biggest challenge to Africa adopting this technology, in your opinion?
Well, I think...
And how could we solve that?
Sorry?
What's the biggest challenge for all of Africa adopting this technology? You know, like in Botswana, I know there's the metropolis of Botswana. Like in Uganda, there's Kampala. Everybody's in Kampala. But outside of that, most people don't know about Web3 or NFTs or anything like that. What is the biggest challenge in educating them on this new technology, and how can we overcome it?
Yeah. So, as I said before, because of mobile technology that I think we've leapfrogged, most people in Africa understand digital money from the fact it comes from their wallets and stuff. I think it is just, crypto has not been, the information about crypto has not come out as how the mobile money came out. And they were also resistant to mobile technology. So it's only when people, you know, I think Africa is a physical believing thing. If people see crypto in a way working for them, then they would adopt it. You know, in the rural areas, I have one use case where one crypto, I think in Zimbabwe, is trying to penetrate the rural space with a particular brand, and we would want farmers to be able to use it, you know, make it into an ecosystem where it's benefiting everybody and is not eroded in inflation and or some corruption. So I think the transparency and the immutableness of crypto can help in that sphere. It's just for us to come up with applications, come up with on-ramps to payment gateways to allow people to go in there. I mean, I think the biggest challenge is regulation, which has run in. Some countries banned crypto altogether, lack of understanding. There's a lot of externalizing funds and money laundering, security in crypto. I mean, the scams are just, you know, in any industry are there. So these are the things which the information that came out from crypto was more investment, more scams. Uh, it didn't really go to the core of the knowledge of what blockchain actually does and what kind of applications can you build on blockchain and which blockchains are proof of stake and all this stuff, which will allow people to easily migrate into it. I think most people don't really want to hear about the technical part of it. They just want it working, whether it's an app, whether it's on a website, and stuff like that. So what I think we need to do is kind of have a bridge where us early adopters, can educate grassroots levels and come up with more impactful projects and use cases for crypto, which really solve some of our issues. As I said, the issues of poverty alleviation, sustainable income, and using it maybe to build ecosystems of communities working together for common goals. Whether it's a football team that wants sponsorship, or it's a farm in rural that wants to get produce to the market. Really practical things, or getting run clean water, funding a borehole, making sure it's a community project, it's maintained. I think these are more things which we feel. I would personally like to be able to run my family farm in Zimbabwe from wherever I am in the world, and this is the case for everybody, I think, who's African. We all have a rural home village we come from, and we would want to make sure we solve that problem, because we're busy out in the world solving other people's problems, and you get home and you find that your issues are not being dealt with.
Right.
Yeah. So.
All right. So I feel like there has to be almost like a curriculum or an education system to kind of bridge the gap from the people, the early adopters who understand the technology, how it works, how it's going to benefit the country and the people, to the other side of the coin, people who don't understand the technology. They've probably even never heard of it, but might be interested in it if it's educated in that same context. In other words, it is given a practical application to their lives. Is there anything that you have seen that is on the African continent that is in that space, like curriculum, education, or anything like that?
In the Web3 space, I think there's one project by a Nigerian guy, the Afro Droid. I was an early adopter to that. What they did was they helped build a school and provide infrastructure basically for a community in Nigeria using NFT. So that's what the Afro Droids were able to do. I think it was substantial, and it was impactful. I think that kind of philanthropy and impact is, I think, what's needed in all NFT projects. Yeah.
All right. So where do you see, we're in 2022, where do you see crypto, NFT, Web3 growing within the next 5 years in Africa?
I'm seeing a lot of African marketplaces, African metaverses, and African-led applications. I think even, I don't know if there's a lot of blockchain based in Africa, but I would think that would be some kind of start, some conversations, some summits, and then implementation into, I think, mainstream. Sometimes I feel if you don't get government support with some of these things, it ends up being kind of seen as an illegal something, and people don't understand it. It gets you don't get much adoption. So I think in the next 5 years, we're going to see an influx in Africa, first of all, because of our young youth who are in Africa, the population growth. Um, and I think the innovative nature of Africans, and in whether it's storytelling or creating their own continent or creating their own narrative, they now have the tools to really do that in a decentralized manner, which does not really need any third parties influence. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, with that said, do you see governments in Africa adopting this technology or this new way of commerce, of education, or do we still have an uphill battle in that?
I think African governments really have a status quo problem where they're trying to, the ones who are not progressive are trying to stifle innovation because they're afraid of something that, destabilization and stuff, which has a fear that has been given to most information, to governments, I mean, to say, okay, crypto is going to destabilize your economy, it's going to do this and that, you're going to lose power. And that kind of puts a fear, and then red tape comes up very fast. In Botswana, I don't think we have had much of that. They're more progressive on trying to establish knowledge-based economy, and there's a lot of emphasis in innovation and in trying to come up with these special economic zones and tech hubs and hackathons. These are the new things which are trying to get people out of the cracks of innovation and then implement it in a sustainable way, I think, instead of just dishing out handouts and grants. So it needs to be kind of organic, and it should be backed by actual growth.
All right. So, is there anything, like we're at the end of our episode, is there anything that you would want to leave with people that are watching? How can they find you? How can they support your cause? What is the biggest challenge that you're facing? And how can someone who's watching help you beat that challenge so that you can progress in the way that you want to progress and build the vision that you have?
I think that's it's quite a lot. I think I'm personally, I have my own challenges. I'm dyslexic, so I have a bit of challenge in learning, and I have had not much of a traditional. I've been to university, but I've not excelled in the traditional education system. So I believe this Web3 space is a chance for people to create their content and absorb content that they want to solve the issues that they are having in their life and trying to make it sustainable. So in my case, I started NFT Africa to not only try and help my own situation, but the people around me that I've been working with throughout the years to get enlightened, to make an impact in their life. So I have a few projects of my own because my biggest challenge is, I think, being alone in Africa with not much support. Most people think I'm just dreaming, this is not true. This is, gibberish, So, as I said, my projects are to make physical nodes in Africa and make galleries, NFT galleries. I'm hoping to try and literally maybe facilitate a few exhibitions in art. Art is the gateway to, I guess, enlightenment. Most people who are artists are early adopters. And I'm wanting to start a fund so that I can help out on board grassroots level. So that is what I was talking about, charity auctions for a few NGOs. I have one particular project called the Shadow Village Project, which is coming up, which is going to be on my website. So I'm still developing my website, but I'm hoping in a few weeks I'll be able to showcase and put all that I'm talking about right now in one place, so you can see how you can participate in it, and also how you can share information and donate to causes that I'm working with.
Awesome. While you were speaking, an idea came to my mind. I don't know if it can be implemented. This is the last thing I'm going to bring up. Mm-hmm. So, I like I said, I'm originally from Uganda, right? I'm here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. But in September 23rd to be exact, I'm going back to Uganda for a pageant that we put on called Miss Tourism Uganda. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever heard of Miss Tourism in your country, but it's an international pageant. And the idea that I came up with was, is there a space that artists, local African artists, can participate in an event like this, where it's a pageant, you're going to have eyes on it, but they can potentially put their art either on the screen or in dresses or in something, so that it gives them the exposure. It gives them the Web3 presence of, you don't have to be in that country to produce or to promote your art. Mm-hmm. You can be part of this global economy where I'm in Nigeria, I'm in Botswana, but there's an event happening in Uganda, and I can still promote what I am doing based off of this event that has so many people and so many eyes on it.
No, that sounds cool. I think the biggest thing, as the spirit of Ubuntu, I think emanated from Africa, is what I've seen in the Web3 space is collaboration is key. And those who fail to collaborate, I don't think grow as a community. So I'm all for collaborating, and I hope, we find like-minded people who will make this possible. I don't think anything's impossible in the Web3 space. That's what I've been told. And that's what I've really seen. I just hope as Africa, we can come together over the languages, over the barriers, and see that there's no borders, and we try and start doing inter-Africa events, and we go with that. So if there was ever a time to do that, I think Web3 will be a catalyst for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, Park. I know it's, almost 10 and 11 o'clock over your time, so thank you for taking the time out to come and talk with us. And I wish you all the best, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much. I hope to see you too.